Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be a part of the Hello Gorgeous release blog hop with Simon Says Stamp, and I have a couple of fun projects to share with you using some of these fabulous new Hello Gorgeous release projects. So I'm going to start with the new Oblique Spheres stencil set. This is really unique. They're small little spheres, and you get the stencils and the masks. So you get the positive and the negative. I'm going to use both. But before, I want to test out the new Tim Holtz Media Grip. I watched live. I'm sure many of you did watch his live where he showed how to use this, and I was very excited to try it. So I noticed in his live how he twisted it out of the package because it is kind of grippy, and then you can trim it to the size that you want to use. So I'm going to use this grip to hold down my cardstock, and most often my panels are 4 1/4, 5 1/2, or under. Like today I'm doing 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And he suggested, if you're going to do ink blending, to make your little grip mat slightly smaller so that it's underneath your cardstock, because when you try to blend, you don't necessarily want to be blending on this grip mat. You just want the grip mat to be holding your cardstock steady. I was pleasantly surprised how that holds my cardstock steady. I don't have to use any Post-it tape to hold it down. Now I am going to use Post-it tape to hold my stencil down, and I had a little bit of this grip media, I keep wanting to call it grip tape. It's grip media mat thingamajiggy that I put on the side, and that's going to hold my ink pads in place. And I got to tell you, for the most part, it did hold the ink pad in place. I was pretty surprised and impressed. So I got a lot more of that grip media left over. I'll trim it to different sizes as needed. But yeah, I'm excited to try this again. Right now I'm blending the largest oblique sphere. I used SEAFOAM ink. Now I'm going to switch to the next size smaller sphere using surf ink. I'm going to be using all Pawsitively saturated inks. So I'm lining up the second smaller sphere. And as you can see, they kind of line up, working your way towards the right side of the sphere. And I'm going with a very light blend today, just kind of around the perimeter. So I carefully remove that second stencil, and then I'll line up the third stencil, and you just always kind of line it up to the right so it butts up. And then I pulled out another shade darker, going into the more blue tones with marine. So the first were more aqua, seafoam and surf, and now I'm doing 2 of blue, marine and royal. So now we're down to the last stencil. There's only 4 in the set, and it creates the most deliciously graphic dimensional sphere, like blended thingamajiggy. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm here for it. Okay, so now royal, little dab will do ya. You don't need much, because I do want to try to keep it a little bit on the lighter side. So I'll remove that, and there you have it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so now I'm going to do the reverse. You know how the oblique spheres has the 4 stencils, and now these are the 4, I'm going to call them masks, because they're like the reverse, or the, would it be the positive, what was left over when they cut the stencil. And I'm going to spray down the back using pixie spray, because you're going to need it to be something to hold it down, because it's going to be in the center of your panel. So I'm putting down the largest sphere. This time I'm going to do warm tones. So I'm starting with peony. Now, I start really, really light, and I sped this up to the high heavens, because, I mean, you can only go on for so long watching me blend, because I built up the intensity slowly, steadily, because I want to get it smooth. I don't want it to get splotchy. I will say that the Pawsitively saturated inks blend like butter, but you do have to slowly build up that intensity. So there's peony, which is a pretty highly saturated entire panel. I'm going to clean up my work surface. The nice thing about those little media grip things, you can just wipe them. Just wipe them down with your stamp chamois. Now we're moving on to Carnation, which is just slightly lighter. And I'm going with a lighter hand because we have a pretty intense, outer edge. And so that was mask number 2. Now I'm laying down. Now all these are held down using that pixie spray. Now I'll tell you something about the pixie spray. Whenever you're spraying down a stencil or a mask with pixie spray, you got to give it a minute to dry. And even with that, I like to take it and put it on my shirt or my pants. You don't want it to be so sticky because I'll tell you, sometimes I put that down and it'll rip your cardstock. You want it to be sticky, but just a little bit sticky, not like too sticky. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, now we're working our way in, and I decided to bring in a little bit of orange for some interest. So I brought in melon, little bubble gum, and I'm working my way like from pink to melon, and in the center we're doing a little lemonade. So these are warm tones, and they're giving me the sherbety vibes, right? Okay, so for this last little circle, just a little dab of lemonade. Working your way into that sunshine center. Okay, I went ahead and put on the big full sphere mask, and I decided to bring in a little sherbet on the outer edge. When that was all peony, I felt like it needed something. I don't know what it needed, but I thought, why not take a little sherbet, go around the perimeter? You know, sometimes you just got to add a little sherbet. By the way, my mom loves sherbet. She's always buying sherbet. It's always in her fridge. Okay, now we're going to start putting these cards together. This new set called Olive Leaves. I die cut a small little olive leaf out of vellum. Popping my panel on a white card base. For the sentiments on both of these cards, I'm using this new set by Kathy Zielske called Spring in My Step. And that's what she does. She gives me a little spring in my step. So I'm stamping I Got You with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I'm using the coordinating die to die cut the sentiment. And then I'm going to pop this up right onto the, vellum leaf. So I didn't put any adhesive on that vellum leaf. The sentiment is essentially holding it down. I'm going to stamp a little sub-sentiment. I got you always. Then for embellishment, I'm using these Back to Basics, what are they called? Gem stickers. They're by Honeybee Stamps, and I love them. They're so handy when they're self-adhesive. And then, okay, card number 2, I'm going to use another sentiment from that Kathy Zielske Spring in My Step. This is a big, bold one, Hugs and Kisses. And I kind of overlap that sentiment just a little bit. These are giving me modern vibes. Clean, graphic, modern vibes. Couple more of these sticker gems in white. I love the white. And so we got white on the one and clear on the other. Popped them up on white card bases. Sending you some Oblique Sphere Hugs and Kisses. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure and check out the Hello Gorgeous Release Blog Hop for incredible inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.